Well, thank you all for being here. Oh, we have to wait. Oh, why hasn't I done this? You all good? Yes. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate it. Tonight we are here for the June 10th City Council meeting for the City of Philomath. And on the agenda we have an update from the Oregon Cascade West Council of Government. We have a recognition for a long-term staff person, and we have public hearings related to the budget, and then a proclamation on Inclusivity Committee meeting, and public comments, and then our consent agenda, and then it reports from the city. And we also have on second on the agenda for this evening will be the Urban Renewal Agency, where we'll have another public hearing and public comment. And so first we'll get started with, so this is for the city council meeting. We'll follow up later with urban renewal, and we'll start with their roll call.
Ms. Conrado, present. Diane Crocker. Here. Matt Lehman.
Here.
Teresa Nielsen. Here. Chaz Jones.
Here. So, first we're going to get started with a presentation from Brian Vogt and Randy Bandison from the Oregon Cascade West Council of Governments. Welcome. Thanks for being here.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Good evening, Mayor, councilors, and city staff. It's always fantastic to be here. My name is Ryan Vogt. I'm the Executive Director for Oregon Cascades West Council of Governments. This is Randy Moore, Director of our Senior and Disability Services and Community Services Program. So you get kind of a twofer tonight. Figured you all would be getting tired of just me swinging by. But real quickly, so in your packets is one pager for Philomath, I think. There's a one pager, and did you also get the county report?
You got a link to the report, the one page on the packet.
Okay. So, like we've been doing this for 3 years now. The last 2 years we've been doing individual member agency reports because as one of the board members, county commissioners likes to refer to us as a friendly octopus. We do have our tentacles in a lot of different things throughout the community. Social service, community and economic development, community services program. And so like to give everybody just a little bit of flavor of what our footprint was over the course of this last year. Because Oregon Cascade West Council of Governments is a mouthful and it's really hard to explain what we do to somebody in the grocery line. So I don't intend to belabor that report. It's there so that you have a sense of kind of where we were in your backyard this year, and we are happy to answer your questions. I do have one thing that I wish to cover, and then I will turn it over to Randy so she can talk a little bit about her program. Last year when I was here, there was two things I said were top of my list for expansion to help out particularly smaller city government and smaller member agencies. The first one was we were going to expand our city planning services and try to work to not all cities can afford a full-time planner or the extent of planning that they need for a variety of projects. And so we are continuing to work on growing our planning work. We have some additional planning work on, and we are looking to hire additional work. That way, if you need some supplemental assistance, we might be able to pitch in on doing some code work for you, or doing some utility mapping, or doing a staff report, or what have you. The other thing that I committed to that I was super excited about, and our Community and Economic Development Director, our new one, did not know I fully committed to this, but I wasn't backing down, and that is that over the last couple of years, one of the things I've heard loud and clear is smaller member agencies struggle with grant writing support. That is particularly salient with all of the infrastructure money that has come out over the last couple of years. So I committed to building a grant writing program that would provide an offset to costs while we build the program to try and support particularly our smaller member agencies with providing grants. We have our very first grant writer on, and she has been assisting. She's been on about 2 months, and we've already submitted 2 major grants, both for Safer Streets for All. The first one is up the 101 corridor in Toledo, and then the second one is really here, Central Valley. And it's submitting for planning grants that brings a bunch of money for us all to talk about what do we need to do to potentially improve our streets to make them safer. You all are doing plenty out here, but it doesn't mean that you won't find at some point in time you need flashing lights on one of the spots or what have you. And we've got multiple cities involved in these grants, and then once the study is done, we'll be able to pursue individual grant opportunities for cities for their specific problem. It won't necessarily be hinged on bigger stuff. But since I made both of those commitments to you last time I was here, I wanted to make sure I told you we are working on it, we're making good on it, and we've got a little ways to go. With that, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, well, I'm going to share just a couple of things. I brought with me some brochures. I'm just going to leave them here for you all to have. This is about our Stand By Me program, which is a financial coaching program. It's a financial empowerment program that will assign a person a coach that will work with them, not just for 1 meeting, not just for 2 meetings, but a person who works with them can identify what their financial goals are, and for free we'll assign them a coach, and they can work on the principles of reducing debt, increasing savings, and increasing credit scores for the goal of paying off student loans or buying a house or whatever a person's personal goals are. We provide this financial coaching in both Spanish and in English, and so I have a Spanish brochure here and an English brochure, and how to get in touch with our agency for that. We have these partnerships for Stand By Me coaches in the communities with other community partners like Strengthening Rural Families and Casa Latinos Unidos. So it's really a great program for young families, single people, anyone of any age can participate in the program if they're interested in financial coaching and working with someone to meet their financial goals. Then the other thing I wanted to really quickly mention is, I was just going to give you some quick Meals on Wheels statistics. We have 37 Meals on Wheels consumers that live in the Philomath area. They have received an average of 163 meals each since the beginning of January, and a total of a little over 6,000 meals already provided to your community members since January of this year. And then the only other thing that I wanted to mention, and I don't have any handy brochures to share with you, but I can get them, is we are about to launch a behavioral activation program, which is a program to support older rural adults or older vets. It's a program that works with a certified counselor in a group setting to set goals of trying to become more active and doing like a hobby that you used to do, going back to church or starting to do a craft or something. And these people work in a virtual meeting with this counselor to set their goals and support each other in meeting their goals, with the goal of reducing isolation, loneliness, and depression. So we are about to start a class session, which I wish I could tell you how many weeks a class session lasted, but I think it's about 6 weeks. I can confirm that. But it's once again also a free program. We can provide people with a computer if having a computer is an issue in participating, and then after they participate, when they're done with the program, we actually are giving everyone a $150 gift card that then they can use to help like purchase supplies for the hobby that they're starting to participate in, or buy gas to go to the church services that they're involved in. And the really great news about this is at the beginning of the program and at the end of the program, we do a depression reduction test. A PHQ-9 is what it's called. And we have had success with everyone who's participated in reducing depression and feelings of isolation or loneliness. So that free session is starting sometime in the next couple of weeks, and I'm happy to send by email some information about the class if you'd like to share it with community members. This is vets and older rural adults are the focus areas.
What's the name of that program?
It's a behavioral activation program.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's evidence-based. So. But I'll leave these for whoever's interested in keeping them, putting them in City Hall, wherever they might be helpful.
Sliced it by 2 minutes.
Oh.
So close.
Any
Timing us.
any questions for Ryan? Thank you very much for the presentation. Andy Crocker.
I have knowledge of some vets in our community that have some of the PTSD, and that might be a different grouping than just a normal senior citizen. Do you have specified groupings, or are they all?
You know, we have different things. So the behavioral activation program, we do have, as I said, people do that sort of pre-testing, and if they're in a range that feels like this might be a good benefit to them, then we would definitely put them as part of this cohort. But if it turns out that we're like, ooh, you might need a little more support, we do have vet services for Benton County, and we can make sure that they go hook up with the right groups.
And if they're not computer savvy, you would provide the computer, but will you teach them how to use it, or?
We can work something out for those. We've had actually those situations. We actually support a tech services program through Benton County, and we can help with that, or we have senior companions. I know we have options for getting someone supported with tech.
And then a question for you. You said a study for the Safe Streets. We've done a study fairly recently here. Are you just taking that information to put it into that, or?
So the federal grant application is for multiple communities.
Mhm.
So Philomath's current study will be folded in, and any additional information that you all want to bring to the table, because you may have new emergence after you're done doing all the bump outs and things of that nature. There may be other things that you want to consider.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having us. It's always a pleasure.
Thanks for coming, appreciate it.
And yeah, I really appreciate you guys being here. I've been on the board since 2018, and and on the executive committee for 4 years now. Thank you for being here and all the work you do, and your staff.
I assume you're getting ready for another 4 years.
Nothing's been publicly mentioned yet. So.
This is not the time to.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Excellent. So next, you're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting.
We'll
Riveting.
I'll be likely to just start talking again. Over your agenda, so.
All right. Well, next we have Dave. Would you mind coming up and joining me up here?
You bet.
So we would like to recognize Chief Gurski for 20 years of service to the city of Philomath. And what a incredible honor and privilege it is to be able to offer this to you and to have you by the city side for so long. So very amazing dedication that you've shown to the city. And yes, we have this for you. Thank you very much. Move over there. Forward. Yeah. How long was
Not that long.
no, but you 10 years, 2
10
days,
years,
4
10
hours,
years.
35 minutes.
That's right.
Yes. You gotta beat him by 1 minute.
That's right.
Thanks so much. So next we're going to have public hearings, and the first public hearing will be on the supplemental fiscal year 2023-2024 budget. Wait, no public hearing. That's confusing.
There's no public hearing.
Chris, I got it.
Go ahead, Mike. Let's go and turn to Mike to go through.
Okay,
it.
Mike.
There's a reason for
Yeah,
that.
I'm here.
Hi, Mike.
Hi, y'all. Good evening, y'all. Tonight for the supplemental budget, we don't have to do a public hearing. It's just, we grouped it in there because it's part of the budget. It's only 4% increase of the total budget. So anything over 10 requires a supplemental. So that's the reason why it looks a little confusing. So anyway, would you like me to continue on, Mr. Mayor?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, in front of you, in front of the council is resolution 2414, which approves the final supplemental budget for the 23-24 fiscal year. What we've had is the general fund. We've had couple of pay increases that are gonna stretch our budget. That's gonna be in the city manager's office, and then my department, and then the chief of police. So I estimated these are the numbers that we need to balance the budget by the end of the year. And on top of that, finance and court has, our city attorney retired. When he retired, we, as you all know, we went out and got a per hour type individual, and it's a little spendy. So our budget for my budget's going to go up by 6,000, and court's going to go up by 18,000. The next item that we were going to change is the holiday decor revenue. We weren't sure if we were going to get $5,000 from the public on this, so we changed the method of how we were going to fund it. We had 12,000 that we had set aside for it, and then we moved money from ARPA. And then the last item in the general fund is we added a city planner. For his cost for this year, or that person, was 32,000. We're going to bill part of that to Adair, Monroe, and Benton County. So we're figuring, Chris and I are figuring it's 50-50. So that'll be the 16,000 we're going to take from contingency. The total charge to contingency would be $107,000. When I created the budget for the 24-25 fiscal year, I estimated we'd use 250,000 in the numbers. And so we stayed underneath that, so we're in a good shape there. Any questions on the general fund before I move to the LBE fund?
Dr. Nielsen?
The ARPA dollars, the 12,000 that was allocated to the holiday decor, did that mean we made a change on other things the ARPA funds were going to be allocated for? And I mean, did it take from something else?
I think that was part of the whole conversation, if I remember right.
It was in the original list of things
Okay.
that the ARPA funds toward. We just didn't know that when we did the budget back in
Okay,
2023.
perfect, thank you.
Yeah, these have all been approved previously by council at various meetings. So move on to the LBE fund now.
Yes, please.
And Mike, just a quick, I just want to recognize Christopher McMorrin's joined us by a virtual meeting. Welcome, Mr. McMorrin.
Hello.
Go on, Mike.
Okay, in the LBE fund, what we're doing there is we're moving 150,000 of the 178 that we had set aside for various projects that the council had set up. And they're going to be basically going to 13th Street lights. That's going to be 80,000. The Starlight Pump, that's going to be 60,000. And then Cochran Memorial, that was 10,000. So that's the items that changed there. And like I said earlier, these have already been approved by council, but we still have to go through the supplemental budget process. So this kind of cleans up the board for the year. Total budget increased by 161,000. So like I said, it only increased 4%, so we don't have to do a supplemental. So I've got a recommended motion down there for council. Any other questions?
I think you mean it only increased 4%, so we don't have to do a public hearing. We do have to do a supplemental budget.
Did I say something? Yeah, if we still have to do a supplemental budget, no public hearing.
Okay. So thank you for that. Any questions for Mike? Now we have a recommended motion. Councilor Cochran?
I move to adopt resolution number 24-14, a resolution adopting a supplemental budget for fiscal year 23-24 and making appropriate increases and changes for fiscal year 23-24, incorporating attachment A as part of the resolution.
Thank you. So we have a motion made by Councilor Cochran. We have a second. Councilor Lehman, second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Say aye. Aye. Aye.
Aye.
So now, Mike, do you want to jump into proposed use of the state revenue sharing?
Yes, now we begin the public hearings. What we do here, go ahead.
Yeah. So we will go ahead and open a public hearing for resolution 24-15.
Okay. Every year, if the city would like to receive state shared revenues, we must have two public hearings. And the first public hearing was with the budget committee back on, was that April 26th? And so that's one. And so basically, this is the second one. This gives the public chance to review how we're planning to spend it. And I've got fiscal notes there. We're going to have a total of 215,000 that's going to go to the general fund. 467,000 is going to go to the Public Works Street Fund, and that's going to be split out 463,000 to the street, 4,006 to the capital projects. That's for the path and beyond. So what I have in front of you is a resolution, and we have to open it up for the public to any comments.
Thank you. Any member of the public here would like to offer comment on this part of the on the city's election to receive state shared revenue? Nope, seeing none. So with that, we go ahead and close the public hearing and move on to councilor questions or comments. Seeing none there, we'll go ahead and we have a recommended motion to adopt 24-15, declaring the city's election to receive state share revenue funds pursuant to ORS 221.770 for fiscal year 24-25.
So moved. And I'll second.
So we have a motion made by Councilor Andrade and seconded by Councilor Nielsen.
Too easy for him.
Well, if you walk Parker path, you were good.
All in favor, please raise your hand and say aye.
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 Motion carries unanimously. All right. Thank you for that, Mike. Now we have, we'd like to open up, or we're going to have a public hearing on the 2024-2025 city budget.
Correct.
You want to go ahead and introduce that topic?
Yes, first item to be considered is imposing and categorizing ad valorem taxes for 24-25. Resolution 2416 is in front of the city council. Our tax rate that we will be adopting for the year will be 5.3005, which will begin on July 1st, 2024 and end on June 30th, 2025. The monies raised will balance fund. Off the top of my head, I think it's like $2 million that we get. So, but like I said, that's off the top of my head. But anyway, that's in front of the council for approval.
Okay, we'll go ahead and open a public hearing. Anyone wish to comment on the tax rate? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. And then we'll open it up for questions or comments from the city council.
Just moving forward, it would be nice at least in the agenda item summary, if not in the resolutions, just because I don't know what laws there are regarding the resolution titles, etc. But just to put it into plain speak of that this is property taxes, because it's not necessarily known by the average person of what this means. I appreciate that.
Thank you. And Mike, I have a question.
Okay.
For the public's benefit, can you explain the rate of how we came to the rate of $5.3005 per $1,000 for our property tax?
Oh boy, you want a history lesson? Is that what you're asking for?
I just want the very, very big 30-second version.
Okay, back in '89, the state passed, I think it was 49 and 50. I don't remember which one it was, but what it caused was they put all the rates into a black box, and did the state of Oregon did their fancy magic and they came out with a number of 5.3005 for the city of Philomath. And they did that for everybody in the state. So that's the 32nd version.
Perfect, and it does not change from year to year.
That is correct.
Thank you. Excellent. Any other questions from council? Seeing none, we have a recommended motion. Layman.
I move to adopt resolution number 24-16, a resolution imposing and categorizing ad valorem taxes for the city of Philomath for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2024 and ending June 30th, 2025 at a rate of $5.3005 per $1,000 of assessed valuation.
Okay, so we have a motion made by Councilor Lehman and seconded by Councilor Crocker, thirded by Nelson. I really appreciate the enthusiasm that you go with that motion.
This one's close to the heart.
Yeah. Any further discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Thank you for that. And Mike, do you want to go on and talk about resolution 24-16?
17, yeah. 24-117 is a resolution adopting the budget and making appropriations for the 2024-25 fiscal year. On May 22nd, Budget Committee has approved the city budget in the amount of $36,105,000 with ending fund balance of $4,007,000 for total requirements of $4,841,000. The city council can decrease, increase the budgets up to $5,000 or 10%, whatever is greater. But just keep in mind, if you make a change, we have to have an offset somewhere here and there. So you have in front of you, approve the resolution 24-17 or amend the resolution as stated before. And we have a motion in front of you for consideration. Any questions?
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Mike. First, we'll go ahead and open a public hearing. Do we have any members of the public who would? Oh,
That was
public.
for both. Public hearings for both.
Okay, forget it. We'll not do another public hearing.
Right to the,
I'm going to retract that. Any questions from council or staff? Already. Okay, seeing none, we have a recommended motion that's already been accepted. Oh, Councilor Nelson.
Oh,
Sorry,
my turn.
closer there.
I move to adopt resolution number 24-17, a resolution adopting fiscal year 2024, 2025 budget as recommended by the Budget Committee for budget appropriations of $36,105,970 and a total ending fund balances of $4,735,548 for the total requirements of $40,841,158.
That's great. We have a motion made by Councilor Nielsen. We have a second by Councilor Crocker. And I just wanted to comment that I really appreciate, like, when you read that, it just reminded me of grade school.
Not middle school?
No, it was great, like, teachers, I just remember, it just really just brought me back. So we have a motion made and seconded. Any further discussion, comments, discussion?
I just want to go to the record, appreciate, again, the budget committee and city council, all the work on putting this budget together. I think short of sticking through this over the last week or so, short of the year that we looked at doing the general fund fee and had a lot of discussion prior to the budget cycle and the meeting. And even then when we did the per side account, we had some discussion then, but short of really those two, I feel like this year we had probably the most input from the council going into the budget process than we've ever had. And it was really helpful for staff to get that input, both from the committees that have worked, again, I think empowering your public works committee, empowering the finance committee to make some of those decisions, give that guidance to staff, and then the council as a body giving guidance to staff really helped Mike and I and the rest of the department heads to craft a budget that came forward and had a few changes and a few tweaks during the process, but really a lot of work goes into that. So if it feels like we're flying through this tonight, it's only, and you all know this, it's only because of all of the work that went into it prior to tonight to get it dialed in. So thank you for the efforts there. It's been a good process this year, and I feel like we've got a solid budget and a good path forward. So thank you to Budget Committee, thank you City Council, and thank you to city staff for getting through the budget. Great job.
Yeah, I second that. Thank you, inspectors on the budget committee. Thank you for your hard work. Appreciate you all.
Do we have to vote on that? Did we vote on that?
Not yet.
Should we? That was a joke.
Okay, sorry. Well, I'm so used to working with millions of dollars as educators that we are used to those kind of budgets in our households and all this.
Yeah, right. Okay, all in favor, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. So with that, we have next on the agenda a proclamation reaffirming inclusivity proclamation originally from 2020 and proclamation 2011. Councilor Andrade, I didn't ask you prior, but would you like to read that for us?
Sure. So did you want information on it first, or?
If you want to give background, that's fine.
I don't know, Councilor McMorrin, did you have anything that you wanted to say as council co-chair of the Inclusivity Committee?
I mean, I guess just for the record, the way this kind of goes is we bring this proclamation back every June. So prior to June, the Inclusivity Committee reviews the prior year's Inclusivity Proclamation and makes edits as they feel are necessary. And then we forward it on to the City Council for approval annually. And I think this is largely similar to last year's. There's a few changes, specifically the first couple clauses about like Native American culture. And then I think there were a few other sort of language tweaks that the committee felt was appropriate. But I don't think there's anything in there that's changes sort of the intent and the substance of it.
Thank you.
So City of Philomath, Resolution 24-13, a resolution proclaiming inclusivity. Whereas the City of Philomath is located within the traditional homelands of the Marys River or Ampinifu Band of Kalapuya, following the Willamette Valley Treaty of 1855, Kalapuya people were forcibly removed to reservations in Western Oregon. Today, living descendants of these people are part of the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde Community of Oregon and the Confederated Tribes of the Sletz Indians. Indigenous people are valued, contributing members of the Philomath community and represent multiple sovereign tribes among the Philomath community. And whereas Philomath strives to be a city based on mutual respect and understanding, a community that welcomes and values all residents and treats everyone with human dignity and respect. And whereas the origin of this proclamation and formation of the city's Inclusivity Committee in 2020 were a direct result of a community-led effort encouraging the city to respond to the murder of George Floyd by committing to eliminate all forms of racism wherever it exists within our community and affirming the principle that all Black lives matter. And whereas all people, regardless of race, caste, ethnicity, nationality, religion, disability, sex, gender expression, gender identity, sexual orientation, marital status, age, or socioeconomic status live and work together within Philomath and bring pride to our community. And whereas oppression, discrimination, intolerance, bigotry, hostility, fear, intimidation, harassment, and violence threaten the health, safety, and resiliency of our community. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of Philomath that this governing body recognizes that it cannot forget or change the past, but must choose to guide our community towards a more connected future where we share knowledge to learn from past mistakes and become part of a better world for everyone, and commits to the principles, assurances, philosophy, administration, and implementation of civil rights compliance laid out through the Civil Rights Act of 1964, the Voters' Right Act of 1965, the Americans with Disabilities Act of 1991, and all other federal and state protections, and affirms that Philomath must be a welcoming city to all, regardless of race, caste, ethnicity, nationality, religion, disability, sex, gender expression, gender identity, sexual orientation, marital status, age, or socioeconomic status, and denounces oppression, discrimination, intolerance, bigotry, hostility, intimidation, harassment, and violence against people due to their identity or status, and commits to continually pursue a culture of safety and well-being in recognition that all have the right to live their lives with dignity, and commits to examining systemic oppressions within our city government, and city leadership, while seeking out training opportunities to assist in identifying and eliminating all forms of discrimination within our city, and commits to ensuring that all public plans, policies, programs, services, and activities are designed, implemented, evaluated, and delivered in a manner that advances equity, improves quality of life, and reduces disparities. Be it further resolved that in recognition of the importance of these commitments, the Philomath City Council shall annually review, update, and reaffirm the Inclusivity Resolution at the first meeting of the City Council each June. Passed by the Council this 10th day of June 2024, approved by the Mayor.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. It's not easy to read that much text in the public forum, and I really do appreciate it. So we have a motion to approve Resolution 24-13.
So moved.
And we have a motion made by Councilor Lehman and seconded by Councilor Nielsen. All in favor, please raise your hand. Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. And really do want to, I really appreciate the really thoughtful edits that were made this year. I can, having read this a number of times now, I can see the thought and the intention that has gone into it. So thank you. Appreciate you all. So next we're going to open for public comment. And before we have public comment, we always read this text. And we need to start bringing glasses or something. This time is intended for individuals to speak and for council to listen. Members of the council will not discuss topics or make decisions during this time, but may make comments or requests. Under advisement. Assign topics to a future council or standing committee agenda or request staff to take action. Comments on a topic scheduled for a public hearing should be given during the public hearing, not during visitors and comments. Testimony time is limited to 3 minutes per speaker. A 30-second warning will be provided, and speakers should provide their name and city of residence. Providing the council with a written copy of your comments prior to or during the meeting is greatly appreciated. Those who attend public meetings are required to adhere to the council's rules of proceedings and observe the same standards of decorum as members of the council. Further, at the discretion of the presiding officer, members of the public who fail to observe these rules and procedure may be asked to stop speaking and will not be allowed to speak until for the remainder of the meeting. But I want to welcome Mr. Scott Ramsey to come up to the dais and talk to us about the College of Philomath Community project.
So, try to be quick, I only got 3 minutes. So, a lot of you know, I don't know if Matt, were you on when they did the fundraising for the Ford Leadership Program?
Lori was.
Lori was.
Yeah.
So, 2003, 2002, somewhere we fought for our bylaws. We had a great project going. It had a lot of enthusiasm here in Philomath. We had a lot of support. We had 11 board members. A lot of it was part of the Philomath Montessori School. And we were going like gangbusters. We got the money. We put the bell tower back on the building. We got the building secured. And we ran into a major wall funding-wise. We applied for, I believe, 9 grants, and all 9 grants came back and were rejected for the same reason. Although we had a great philanthropist, Andrew Martin, who financed the project and gave us the money and to buy the building and put us on a payment program and everything, everybody that looked at it as far as the grant process said, you bought a building for $375,000, you owe $375,000, you have no equity in this project, you have no stake in the game, we're not gonna give you any money. Upon that, I had about 10 board members left within the next couple of months because everybody wanted to be on a 2 or 3 year project, not on a 20-year project. So, for the last 20 years, I have been managing the apartments up there, filing every year for our nonprofit status, and we've been having our board meetings. Our board has got all the way down to 3 members at one point. But 20 years later, the most recent assessed value of the building by our insurance company is $950,000. We currently owe $40,000 on the building. We have just gone through, we've started to do the earthquake reinforcement for the basement. We got all the engineering, all that's in the back of the book that I gave you there. It's that, the very back shows some of the most recent earthquaking that we're trying to do right now. And you see a lot of the articles, you see all the enthusiasm, 2003, 2004, 2005, that was going on with this project. There was a lot of people in the community involved, but it just kind of went into a dormant phase. We now feel like we're not there. We are now have 95% equity in the building. Our bylaws have not changed. Our goals have not changed. Nothing's changed at all. We still, the original goal of this was to make a upstairs, very upstairs of the building was going to be a senior center. There's going to be a 4-stop elevator on the back of the building to make our handicap access and everything for that. The first floor would be open for more like a community center to have some bathrooms and some rooms available for people to meet in. And then we always wanted to put in a Montessori or a Head Start in the basement. Because of where we're at in the, our zoning is that we're in a residential zoning, so you can't put a lawyer's office in there, we can't put anything for profit in there, we can't put a store or anything. So everything we pick has to either be a school, which it was,
And so just to get to the meat of your presentation, like your ask.
Yeah, so, well, it's not really so much an ask, so I was on city council during the couplet. Random time to be on city council. But I know that the city, they do have the opportunities. At the time, the city had backed the project. They had agreed to that if we moved forward with our renovations and stuff, that they would supply the backhoes and stuff to get the water, and help with the water, supplying water and anything that the city could there. There's also, when I was on city council, there's times when you pick different projects in the community, and I know that we were picked once to give some money to. Right now, we're desperately trying to get enough money. We really need grant writing, but so for the earthquaking, we need $50,000, but we've only got right now $3,000 in the bank. A lot of that's because of what we just spent on the engineering to get the earthquake engineering done. And then we ran into asbestos. Then we had to get the asbestos removed. And so now that dwindled our bank account back down. We really need some money. A lot of that's it takes money to make money. We need to get some money and interest back in the building so that we can get grant writing mainly. We'd like to get a grant writing for the earthquake upgrade. We would for the outside renovations on the building. We aren't rolling in the dough. We've managed to make all of our payments. We have never fell in default. We are in good standing. We've been in this community for over 20 years now. We've been a nonprofit for over 20 years, but we're not well off. We could use all the help we could get. I currently have. I don't even know if I have 5 or 7 board members right now. A couple of them kind of don't really reply much. I could use some new interest in the building. If anybody wants to get on the board.
Thank you. Yeah, good. Thank you. And Chris, can we have staff make sure that Mr. Ramsey is included in the information when we send out our social service funding type announcements, in case they're applicable?
Yeah, those typically go to social service agencies. We'll just have to see how fit there is. The other thought I had is maybe we can look at Hog's new grant writing and see if that might be an option for them. I've already met with Susan Peterson. Yeah. And I don't know what the capacity there is, but it may be something they can help out in that as well. So, Scott, let me talk through there and I can reach back out to you.
Any help we can get would be greatly appreciated.
I just wanted to first say thanks for putting this together. Honestly, I'd kind of lost track of this project when I saw an article in the paper back, and then seeing this, I'm just super excited that you kept with it. And there's going to be something positive at the end of it.
I'm impressed that you stuck with it for 20 years and that you've paid it down so far. So that's a great deal of dedication.
Okay. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate your presentation.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. So now we have our consent agenda. We have a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Whoa. Motion made by Councilor Andrade and seconded by Councilor Lehman. Any further discussion, comments, questions? All in favor, please raise your hand, and say aye.
Hi.
I'm gonna stay the rest of the meeting.
It's good to know. I've been through plenty of them.
Yeah.
Thanks, Scott.
Before I vote, I wanna know if Lizzie had a chance to go through these and do any scriveners.
Didn't have a chance. So motion carries. Thank you. And then we have reports of the boards, commissions, committees, council, and staff. First, we have our management report. Chris, did you want to speak on the management report?
Just a couple highlights, and appreciate management team pulling this together every month. Hopefully that's been helpful for everybody. On a special note, Ruth posted, recorded, put in their filing period for mayor and 3 council positions opened back on June 5th. Deadline is August 13th at 5 p.m. So
Please do not wait until August 13th.
yeah, tough to get a lot of signatures the day of. So come and see Ruth, call ahead of time. She's got a couple of times she won't be in the office between now and then. So recommend you just come talk to Ruth. She can give you the rundown on what's expected. She does a really good job of kind of setting expectations for people. They think it's like once a month or twice a month to have a quick little 2-hour meeting. So I think Ruth does a very good job of kind of explaining what it's really going to entail and the subcommittees and the liaison positions and everything else. So come and see Ruth. She'll make sure that you're well informed and educated. But encourage anybody in the public that's interested to.
Has there been any interest yet?
It's been about 4 days, so,
Yeah.
you know, it's still quiet.
Some of those were
And the information is on the city's website, all the forms are on the
I've
city's
seen it a
website, so
few
it's
times,
useful,
yeah.
someone can go out there and pull the forms off and start filling them out and reading them. When they're interested. I like having the opportunity to chat with people first, though.
The next thing I'll make note of, appreciate Councilor McMorrin. He and I hosted the first ever meeting of the Scenic Byway Corridor Management Plan Steering Committee. There's actually some more words we throw in
Say
there.
that 3 times fast.
It can get longer real quick, but this is for Highway 34, which goes essentially from I-5 all the way up to Wallport. It's geared towards tourism, economic development, trying to get people off Highway 20 and take the more scenic route. And so this whole ODOT program is built around getting more traveling through there. And the management plan sets up a long-term plan to create additional points of interest, display boards, information boards, promotion material about getting people on the tour and to come back, right? That they enjoy it and have a good experience and they'll come through. So this is a statewide program for scenic byways. We just got our starter right before COVID and then everything kind of tourism. So we're kind of dusting it back off and getting it off the shelf and bringing it back up. There's quite a bit of excitement there. It's not a big lift for anybody, but it's a little bit of a lift for everybody involved. And so Councilor McMorrin agreed to help kind of get this thing pulled up by the bootstraps and get it going and off and running, and we'll be selecting some leadership and getting probably, you know, quarterly type meetings put in place and looking at some priorities there. So I would anticipate at some point we'll see some financial requests come to the city that'll get wrapped into the strategic plan and make their way through a budget at some point for some level of engagement and improvements along the byway. And then the last thing I'll make note of that's on here, not that there's not a lot of good stuff, but we are holding a public hearing for the proposed annexation up on North 9th Street. That's next Monday with the Planning Commission here. You are not invited to be there because after it goes to the Planning Commission, it'll come before you at the City Council. And so you can't be at this first hearing because you'll need to be at the second hearing and be impartial. So these are quasi-judicial hearings and just be like a judge sitting in on a, you know, prior deal knowing that it was going to come to them on appeal or something. You want to stay neutral. So do encourage you, the staff report is out and it's on the website, I think on the website tonight.
Yes.
Staff report's on the website, the supplemental information's on there as well. Happy to answer any individual questions you might have, but for the most part, I would just do your reading, do your homework, and then wait until we get into a public hearing and we can talk about all we want to at that time. So, I think that's all I have for Big stuff on there. You have a question?
Yeah, Councilor Warren?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I wanted to echo what Chris said about the byway management, that whole mouthful. It seemed like a really positive meeting, and I think everyone's happy to kind of get that ball rolling again. So hopefully that will move in a good direction. And I also just wanted to say that our public art committee also met again for the first time in a while last week. And I think that can kind of, go hand in hand a little bit there of trying to make sure that our portion of Highway 20 and 34 is attractive and is pleasant for tourists. And so we're working on some things that will probably come to the council in the next couple months. So just keep an eye out for that. But it's a good, exciting time.
Thank you. Okay. Anything else?
I have a couple of questions.
Okay.
First one, what's all that pipe that's being staged by the new park there? What's that for? That's gonna be
Great.
new park by the Cochrane.
Veterans Park.
By Cochrane, yeah, there's a bunch of, looks like sewer pipe, but I'm not sure. It was weird in some manholes. It's probably all going eventually, I don't know why it's being stored there. It's probably all going eventually on 18th and 17th and 16th. That's what I assumed, but I just thought it was weird too that it's like temporary. Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of odd that it's up there. Okay. And then I had a general comment that I think it's kind of funny that we get into arguments all the time with DOT about traffic flows through here and they don't want to seem to do anything to increase capacity or make anything run any smoother, but they're more than happy to promote stuff over here that would draw more traffic through. It just seems kind of ironic to me. Not that it's a bad thing, it just seems kind of ironic. And then I had a question for Councilor Nielsen, but if she could give us a report on what happened with the carnival.
Oh, it was extremely successful. I got an email from Ed saying, steady growth and participation. The weather was beautiful. Concessions, we went solid from 5 o'clock until 8:30. Steady growth made I can't remember exact. He didn't give us an exact number on the amount of money that was made that day, but he said it was extremely successful. We had a lot of volunteers, a lot of youth from the high school helping. So all in all, a win-win. So it was great.
Awesome. Thanks.
Welcome.
Dr. Carter?
I was just gonna say, I'm on the board of the Philomath Performing Arts Benefit Fund, and we were at the OSU Symphony with the Music in the Park flyers out, and they were extremely popular. They were way more popular than anything we had to say, so it was something we'll need to make more next time, and people were very excited.
Excellent. Thank you. Anyone else? Chief?
I just wanted to remind everyone that the Whitebird Clinic's bystander intervention and de-escalation training is this Thursday from 6 to 8 p.m. on Zoom for city staff, volunteers, and the Pink Flamingo Brigade members for the Pride event. And they're the vibe checkers, basically, the Pink Flamingo Brigade. And I just wanted to also ask Chris if you sent an email to the other city volunteers yet, because I think you had said that, like, planning commissioners and park advisory board and
I've not sent it to Park Advisory Board, no, but to Planning Commission, City Council.
I just wasn't, from what I remember, the last I saw was the committee volunteers as well. But anyway, yes, please let Chris know so he can figure out payment purposes. Another thing, we're still looking for volunteers and donations for Philomath Pride. Please check out our Facebook page, email philomathpride@gmail.com, or reach out to me if interested, and I can put you in contact with people. And then finally, Philomath Pride is this Saturday at City Park, noon to 4 p.m. All are welcome. Everything is free. We're planning on flying a progressive pride flag on the flagpole at City Park the day of the event. Pizza is provided by Meta Oven, thanks to Benton County Mental Health. The city is providing funds to city's providing funds for the de-escalation training, and also providing funds to rent a large sound system so that we can hold bingo with prizes. There'll be also live music and comedy performances using that sound system. There'll be a rainbow parade along part of the track at the park, a low sensory Zen den space with Benton County Mental Health, an Oregon Queer Pioneers History Walk thanks to Benton County Historical Society, face painting and arts crafts with Maxtivity, yard games with Jackson Street Youth Services, resources and information from community organizations, rainbow swag and snacks. It's going to be a ton of fun.
Excellent.
Good job.
And I have a couple flyers.
Any
if anyone
questions
wants
for
any.
Councilor Andrade? For helping put all that together, and a lot of work to get a large event like that. So hopefully there'll be plenty of people in attendance. Councilor Nielsen?
May I change subjects really quickly?
Oh, wait.
Oh, I just wanted to ask if Councilor McMorrin had anything else to say about Pride or anything Inclusivity Committee.
No, that you did a beautiful summary of that. Thank you for that. And echoing what the mayor said, just that I am consistently floored with the amount of work that the volunteers put in for that event. And it's I think a beautiful sort of, representation of community. So it's been really fun to see that happen. And it makes the rest of our jobs on Inclusivity Committee pretty easy when we just get to show up and hear the updates about how things are going really well. But as Jessica said, like if you're able to volunteer or attend, or if you have any, local business contacts for donations, anything like that, anything helps at this point too. So yeah. And I don't think there's any other big Inclusivity Committee updates. I hope you're enjoying some of the banners on Main Street and Applegate. That's a new sort of thing we're trying to do more and more of. So let us know how you think it's going.
Thank you. Councilor Nielsen?
Yes, at the last board meeting for Philomath Community Services, there was some, I think, somewhat alarming statistics they were quoting about those with food insecurity in the city of Philomath. The Oregon Lynn Benton Food Share, as of last year, had some budget cuts in regards to frozen meats and frozen vegetables. And as of last month, there is a severe shortage within the Philomath Food Bank and other food banks in our state generally. But for the first time in a really long time, Philomath Food Bank is having to supplement to purchase frozen food, meats and frozen vegetables from the grocery store rather than being able to get them from Food Share, which is a substantial difference in cost when we have to do that. So they were talking about an average of $2,000 a month from their budget now to purchase necessary meats and vegetables for the food bank, which we're working on. I'm working with them on seeing if we can find a solution for this, another avenue to go through, because food insecurity is not something that's going away. In fact, it's something that's augmenting. And so we need to be very aware of how we can, as a community, help and meet the needs of those that have severe deficits in their food budgets. And meats and vegetables aren't something that typical families can do without. Yes.
A couple of things. The clientele is increasing, I'm assuming still. It has been for several years. And then what can we do to help? Can we just donate and ask others to donate? I mean, is there a better way?
There's a lot of discussion going on what the best way to do that, because of the fact they've done lots of different drives, drive-through drop-offs and other types of drives they do, but with frozen produce and products, it's really hard because of the temperature maintenance of having to have things at a certain temperature. So we're working at a couple of different things. One is a church type of humanitarian grant that would do a bulk shipment of frozen meat that could then be distributed. And they're looking to other avenues, what can be done. That budget, the state budget, will not be changing in the upcoming years. So they're not projecting to get any more from the state. So they're having to look at other avenues now to meet those needs. But it'll be interesting. They're meeting as a board on a Saturday, the last Saturday in June. I don't have the date, I'm sorry. As a board meeting to discuss, maybe some permanent changes and what they can do, and I'm working with a gentleman that see what we can do as far as making a large donation. So something to be aware of, but I'll let everyone know if we get some kind of a drive going or something that we can publicize to the community on how to meet their needs. That would be really helpful.
Thank you. Council Lehman?
I forgot one thing. July 16th and 17th, the 16th in Albany and the 17th in Eugene, the state legislature and the DOT are having their transportation roadshow, and you can sign up to comment, or you can submit written comments. Basically, they're looking to get comments from the public about how to fund transportation moving forward, since even though the revenue actually has been going up steadily, the big fear is that we're going to run out of money from the gas tax because people are starting to drive more fuel efficient cars and things like that and using transit. So anyway, there's an opportunity for people to comment about how they would like to have their transportation funded. Probably not a good place to bring up like big projects, because there's still several projects from the 2017 kind of huge transportation bill that was passed that are still hanging out there, mostly up in the metro area, like the Rose Quarter redesign and the I-5 bridge across the Columbia, stuff like that. But really the emphasis is going to be on determining the best way to fund the Department of Transportation projects, maintenance, and all that stuff moving forward.
If you happen to have any recommendations for those of us that are less familiar with all the options, feel free to email us.
I'd be happy to forward you with some summaries of the conversations that have been happening. Yeah.
Thank you. Councilor Nielsen?
I just wanted, as a liaison for the school district, I want to congratulate all those graduating seniors. It was a wonderful graduation and a lot of celebrations going on.
Two parents.
I know,
I think,
very exciting, good times, and we have much to be proud of. We're graduating some really good people inside and out, and not only with a good education, but a good foundation of community involvement and participation in making this world a better place. Much to be commended.
Congratulations to all those high schoolers, seniors.
I have a question for staff. I know we had talked about having town halls and preferably sooner than later having one about psilocybin and or cannabis, and was wondering if we have an update about that, any sort of planning that's happening or information gathering.
Or likely month.
What was the topic again?
Psilocybin and or cannabis. I know psilocybin was the main one, and then if possible.
Got it. No, so I've just put it on the list for the city attorney to look at so they know the dates, and I need to follow back up with our new attorney to see. It'll probably be a work session with the council first and foremost, and talk through options, and then we can, once the council's got an idea of the direction we'd like to go, I think that'd be appropriate to open up for some type of town hall, community outreach. So I just need to follow back up with the attorney.
Thank you.
Yep. And then as a reminder, there will be no city council meeting at the end of June. There will also be no council meeting at the beginning of July because of the frolic and staff vacations, and we'll have a council meeting at the end of July.
Do you have a date on that?
I don't, but councilor, or city recorder does.
Yes.
Yeah, you
July
are.
22nd,
July 26th.
Saturday at 6 p.m.
Thank you.
Yes, so enjoy your summer vacation. Anything else for this particular meeting before we move on to the Urban Renewal Agency?
Quick.
Chelsea?
I just wanted to let people know that Build a Better Skate Park, aka BABS, has been working to get some folks doing community support for a future skate park potential in Philomath. You can contact them at babsphilomath@gmail.com. They're just looking for people to get involved, and I think they're actually starting to have some little meetings and try to do some maybe community service events just to kind of get the word out that they're a group who is gathering and interested in having a skate park.
They'll be at Pride.
Yeah, there you go.
Can you say that again? Babs Philomath what?
@gmail.com.
Gmail. I missed the Gmail part. Thanks.
Thank you. With that, we'll go ahead and adjourn the city council meeting. And we will now open our Urban Renewal Agency agenda, and we'll get started with a roll call. Wait, we have to stop.
Jessica Andrade.
Present.
Diane Crocker.
Here?
Matt Lehman.
Here.
Christopher McMorrin.
Here.
Teresa Nielsen.
Here.
And Chaz Jones.
Here. Excellent. Well, thank you, and we'll first get started with a public hearing. And Mike, do you want to kick us off with the discussion of the URA budget?
Will do. In front of you is Resolution 2401, adopting the budget, making appropriations, declaring a tax increment for the 2024-25 fiscal year. On May 22nd, Budget Committee approved the URA budget to City Council for approval and appropriation. The appropriation level for the URA operations is $1.621 million. Non-appropriations or appropriated ending fund, unappropriated ending fund balance of 468 is added to that total for a grand total of $2,089 million of operation. We're going to be asking for the maximum amount of revenue that can be raised by dividing the taxes under Section 1, Article 9 of the Oregon Constitution, and no special levy is required for this fiscal year. In front of you is the recommended motion, and so leave it open for questions.
Excellent. First, we need to open the public hearing. No public hearing. Okay. Oh,
That's public.
Oh, we do, yep, sorry. I stand corrected. You know what you're doing.
little bit. Okay, so first we'll open public hearing. And I'm guessing the Spencer is here for this.
Yeah, I've been waiting.
One quick comment. And I'm done. Okay. Anyone else here for public comment? No. So we'll go ahead and close the public hearing and offer any questions to the City Council. Seeing none, we'll go ahead and entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Councilman Nielsen?
I move to adopt resolution number 24-01, a resolution adopting the budget for the fiscal year 2024-2025, making appropriations and declaring a levy of the maximum amount of revenues that may be raised by dividing the taxes to fund said operations and debt.
We have a motion made by Councilor Nielsen, seconded by Councilor Lehman. Any further discussion, comments, questions? Seeing none, all in favor, please raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Hey, you missed that. You're good. So thank you very much. We have public comment period. Anybody here? Public comment? Seeing none, moving on to the consent agenda. We have a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Councilor Lehman motioned it, seconded by Councilor Andrade. All in favor, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. And with that, we have information and correspondence and an adjournment. So thank you very much for getting moving forward to that. With that, we are adjourned.
Gobble, gobble.
Good night, Christopher.
Thanks, all.
Good morning.
Good morning, actually. Are you in Scotland or where are you?
I'm in the Faroe Islands right now,
Whoa,
which is like in between Iceland and Scotland. So
yeah.